Hello, everyone. I'm Michelle Alva, and I'm so grateful for our class 3 of Yoni Healing and Sexual Empowerment. This class is all about going deeper into our sexual body anatomy and learning more about the different parts of our vagina. And so what I'm going to be doing in this class is bringing out my pelvic model here. I have a background as a pelvic floor physical therapist, and I also have had sexual trauma. And so I feel very well versed in this topic that I'm going to share with you today. My goal for you is to just have a deeper understanding of your vagina, the anatomy, the kinesiology, how these muscles work together to support us. Because I really feel from my own background studying biomechanics, kinesiology, gross anatomy, I literally have seen a corpse, 10 different, thank you to those people that donate their bodies, but to actually, be able to dissect and see the nerves and see a uterus, a real uterus that was someone's uterus. It just gives you so much respect and reverence for our bodies and how amazing they are. And so this is why I love to share with you all some facts about the anatomy and also how much our emotions are held here. And so physically, the vagina is actually inside of us. It's not on the outside. And so I'm going to just begin to take you on this journey and remembering that all of this is really energy. Our bodies are 99.9999% made of energy. And yes, we have muscles, we have bones and joints, organs. However, when you start to remember more that you are energetic, you can change like that. You can shift like that. And I, as a pelvic floor physical therapist, would work with women that have had sexual trauma for years, that were years and years and years of abuse, that literally can clear trigger points in seconds that they've had for years, or pain. So I've worked with women with vulvodynia. The vulva is the external labias. The external part of the vagina is the vulva, what you see on the outside. The vagina is on the inside. It's a muscular tunnel of love. This is what I call it. And so when we go inside, this is the vagina. It's a tube. It's the tunnel where there's smooth muscles, and it leads into your cervix. And so if I open up the vagina, the cervix is the opening of the uterus, and it's the most deepest part of your vagina on the inside, where the tip of your finger touches. It feels like a lip, and that's where the beginning of your uterus is, which is right here. And the uterus connects with the fallopian tubes, and we have our ovaries on the sides. And so this is inside. And every single month, either the right or the left, this is the place where our eggs are, and we're born with eggs that we're going to have for the whole life of us. So we are born with our eggs, and every month, the right or the left releases an egg, and it goes down the tube, the fallopian tube, to the uterus. And so once a month, this happens normally. And if a sperm happens to swim inside and fertilize that one egg, a baby is produced. And there's no blood that's shed that month. If you do not get pregnant that month, the lining builds up preparing for pregnancy. But then if you don't get fertilized, the blood has no purpose for being there because baby didn't happen. And so that's why we bleed once a month, because the lining has to go somewhere since we didn't have a baby that month. And so that's why we have our cycle every single month. We could have gotten pregnant every single month. And so each month an egg is released. And as the years go by, we don't have as many eggs that were there from the minute we were born, right? From before we were born. And so that's why as women get older, there's less chance of healthy eggs. The healthiest eggs are the ones that always come out, right? That's how it happens in the earlier part of your years when you're 15, 16, 17, 18, 20. And as the years go by, and also that's why it's not good to have a laptop on your uterus when you're 20 and doing your laptop work on top of your uterus, with the EMFs. It's really healthy for us to stay away. If you want to have a baby and you're young, keep all electrical things away from your uterus, because your eggs are the same ones that you were born with. So they're getting exposed to a lot of things. This is important to know. All right, so that's the inside. So let's go back to the external anatomy. And if you have any questions, you can comment in the comments. But I'm just going to walk you through right now the anatomy. And when we look at this pelvis, we have, these are our sacroiliac, our sacrum is back here, our iliacus, these two bones that come together. And we have joints here that connect our sacrum with the two sides of our pelvis. And the pelvic floor is the base. It's this muscle. It's a hammock-shaped muscle that goes from your pubic area to your tailbone area. And it's like a hammock. It also looks like a diamond, And so here's your anus and here's your vagina. So we only have two holes there. And the pelvic floor passes through here. When it contracts, it lifts up. So this is the motion of it. When it contracts, when you tighten up your booty, when you tighten up your vagina, the muscle gets shorter and it moves up. And so when you squeeze this muscle, it helps your organs to also come up higher. And this is why women that have 3 kids, 4 kids, 5 kids, and they don't do their Kegel exercises, their organs literally are pressing down into a flat, flabby, flaccid pelvic floor. And we wonder why sometimes there's uterine prolapse. And so it's really important for you to keep strengthening, squeezing, and relaxing every day. And I do this while I drive. You can have a ritual that every time you're on the freeway, you're from one exit to another, like let's just say you do this drive every day for work, you make it a ritual that you're always going to do your contract, relax exercises. Or you can have a playlist of music where there's some drumming. I have a song that I like to use that it's my pelvic floor strengthening song. And so making time to contract and relax your base is very important. This muscle also helps to give integrity to your low back. So people that have low back pain, it's really helpful to keep your pelvic floor strong so that you can have more stability, muscular stability in your sacrum. So this is really beneficial. And so that's the external anatomy of the pelvic floor. And so we're going to go now to the genitals, where these are your outer lips. These are your labia majora. And you see that little yellow? That's the clitoris. The clitoris has 9,000 nerve endings for pleasure, and its purpose is just pleasure. It's amazing how, thank you, God. That's why God is a woman. No, I'm just kidding. And so the clitoris has a hood, and I think you could see the wrinkles here. And so when you're touching yourself, you can take your index finger and middle finger, and you can press into your hood and lift it up. And then with your index finger, you can massage your clitoris. You can literally feel it. It's a little hard. And this is analogous to the penis for a woman. And so when you touch your clitoris, you can touch it up and down. You can stroke it right to left. You can do, and notice, how does it feel for me to touch my clitoris? Remember, when you lift the hood up, you'll expose it. And it's easier to feel where it is. So for oral sex, just FYI, if someone, your lover is not lifting your hood, it's not going to feel as intense. And so you can actually teach your partner, if they're not doing that already, when they're licking you, to lift your hood. And that's what certain people, they just know to do that. And it's amazing because you'll feel so much more when the hood is lifted because your clitoris is not being blocked. It's super sensitive there. And so you can stroke up and down, side to side, and circularly. and diagonally, and you can go fast or you can go slow. And so I highly recommend you to explore and have fun. Lift your hood, and the other finger, you're just exploring. When I touch in this direction, how does it feel? You can also tap it. And just exploring different angles, different pressure. And why do we want to do that? Every time you touch your clitoris, you're stimulating 9,000 nerve endings for pleasure. And it's going to create more oxytocin, the love hormone, in your body, and endorphins. And so this is a way to just feel really relaxed. The parasympathetic nervous system amps up. So at the end of the day, you could just massage yourself. This is a part of the Yoni massage. So this nerve, it's the pudendal nerve for pleasure. It's sacral nerve 234. This is a superficial pleasure nerve. When we go inside the vagina, we're stimulating the G-spot, which I feel like I'm going to stay external right now. I'll tell you about that later. So this is all you need to know for clitoris. You know, even if you use a vibrator, lift your hood up when you use a vibrator and you'll feel more, just letting you know. So sometimes women are like, oh my God, it's so intense, I have to stop. Does anybody relate to that? When it gets intense, that you stop? And so this is my take on it, is there is so much pleasure there to receive that sometimes we're like, I'm not worthy of all that pleasure. Or we're scared of our sexual energy, our sexual power. And so we stop. And so I highly recommend, when you feel you want to stop, take a deep breath. Inhale through your nose and send that expansion up to your heart, up to your throat, up to your third eye. Even if it's feeling intense, it's feeling really good intense. I am powerful. I love my sexual energy. I'm open to experiencing a fuller, richer me. Yes, I'm feeling like I want to stop, but wow. I'm going to navigate through all my holding myself back. I no longer hold myself back. I'm free. And so you make yourself, you decide, I'm going to explore, I'm open to exploring more pleasure in my body. Yes. So I like the sniffs, sniff, 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 because it's going to snap you out of that locking down. 3 quick sniffs while you're masturbating. I'm going to do it anyway. Oh my gosh. And then you cross over and probably orgasm happens. So this happens a lot. A lot of women are like, no, stop. It feels too good. Stop. And we never go there. We never cross over. It's a metaphor for life. So reflect on this, ladies. How am I in my sex? Do I invite my orgasm? Do I welcome my release of energy? Or do I hold myself down? Maybe you were held back by your parents, culture, religion. So Howie sex is Howie everything. And so you can heal so much of your life with your sex. Meaning, if you want to open up that new business, if you want to explore a new relationship, if you want to go on that trip that you've been holding yourself back, pleasure yourself. Take yourself there and breathe through it. And it's a metaphor for going through uncomfortable things. Mind you, if your clitoris is like, listen, honey, I'm tired, you know, you're not going to keep stroking just to come. It's so important to honor our vagina. Your vagina matters. Your vagina is so sensitive and intuitive and energetic. And so there's so much more to explore than just the clitoris. So you say, okay, love you, clitoris. Knock, knock, let's go to the lips. So then you move on to the lips. And so Yoni massage, the way that I have it in the audio that you have, you massage your lips on the outside first. So you take your index fingers and middle fingers and you just do this. And you breathe and you're leaning back. You can be in the bathtub for this one. You can be in your bed. it's nice to do this somewhere where you're used to relaxing. So not on a yoga mat, unless you love your yoga mat. The more cushiony you are, the more it's like comfy, cozy, you're gonna probably let go more. And if you do squirt, highly recommend getting a plastic. I have in my bed a plastic cover on top of my mattress so that I don't have to ruin my mattress. And you might be surprised, so get prepared. You know, if you don't have a plastic cover, get one. It's only like $20. And if you are pleasuring yourself, at least 2 pillows if you're going to be practicing G-spot massage, because we don't know what's going to come out of there. But if you're not preparing the foundation and you're like, I don't want to leak into my mattress, that's going to hold you back. So that's why I recommend every woman have a plastic cover for your mattress so that you don't have to worry about if I'm going to squirt, if I'm pleasuring myself and I'm going to squirt. So that's important too. Okay, so let's get back to yoni massage. So we start with the labias, and as you massage your labias up and down, so remember, this is how I'm laying down, I'm massaging my lips. As you massage your lips, they're gonna get engorged with blood. The veins open up and they dilate, and there's more blood that's flowing. Just like when a man has an erection, that means that his vein, his main vein, has opened up and there's blood engorging, and that's why he's so hard. It's all blood. And so a woman's erection is her lips, because we don't have a penis, and our clitoris also gets more erect. And so as you do this slowly, you can also just do one lip. Some of us, depending on how sensitive we are, or if we've had trauma, some women actually feel pain here. Or I've had clients that say, I'm touching myself, but I don't feel anything. And so you can pull your lip, and I have the perfect shirt today. Pretend these are my lips, you know how they're like wings. You can literally pull your lip and pull your lip on the right, and you can stroke up and down your lip. Isn't this the perfect dress? It's like so cool. I'm just like, okay, so these are your lips. Why do I want to do this? You have pleasure nerves all over your lips. You massaging one lip is augmenting your ability to feel pleasure in your life, pleasure in your body. And it's amping up your oxytocin, your love hormone, your endorphins. It's changing your state. It's making you feel safe. And you pulling it is causing release, relax. It's pulling everything on the inside. Even though I'm on the outside, it's still pulling on your fascia. And so some of us, we have a vagina that's like this. We have lips that are like shriveled and dry and fucking traumatized, right? So you're gonna massage the 2 lips and you just say, this is my first day that I'm creating supple, juicy, engorged lips. I'm deciding I'm not my past. I'm not my stories. I am the whole universe. I am a miraculous, magical, powerful creator goddess that is committing to staying with her lips and owning her sovereignty, and I get to create my own identity, my own me. I am not my parents. I am not my past. I am not my culture. I am not my religion. I get to create myself, okay? Because a lot of us have been told how to be. And so I love my lips. I'm just gonna get to know them. And you'd be amazed what emotions might arise from just one lip. It's amazing. We hold so much down here. Potty training, sexual trauma, opinions of our parents saying about our period, it's dirty, you're dirty, oh, you know, taboo. So it's amazing how we hold. And so just pulling your vagina lips, if this is all you do, wonderful. Okay? So then you go to the other one, and eventually this all is gonna cause your vaginas like juicy. It's just gonna start to become juicy. And some clients I've had, they start to cry. And they're like, I literally feel like juicy. This is what it feels like. Because the lips were so tended to. There was so much stimulation on the lips. it really does feel really great. If you have a pet and you ever pet your pet, after a couple minutes, you start to go into this meditative, and so imagine petting this pet. 5-10 minutes, it's amazing. Just this is amazing. Remember, this stimulates your pleasure nerves. You're not doing it to orgasm. You're doing it because you're loving your sacred body temple and you're worth it. And this part of your body stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system. It's a great way to relax. Okay, so after you do the outer lips, you have your inner lips, and they're smaller. And so you could do the same exact thing. You can pull your little lips, explore your little lips. They're also more moist. And a beautiful technique for the lips is just circles. Circle, circle, circle for the little lips. And as you're doing this, you can breathing into your heart. You could also massage your heart as you're touching your sex. And so for some people, we have disconnected from our sex and our heart. If we don't want to get hurt again, or emotional unavailability, we were hurt in the past. And so you can have little labias, and then you could be doing heart, and you could be breathing into your vagina as if it were a lung, and then breathing up to your heart, back down to your vagina. And so I call this vagina heart breathing, womb breathing, but this is more sexual because it's your vagina. And so you're making it a conscious connection. Right hand on the vagina, left hand on the heart, or vice versa hands, whichever one you want to do. Okay? And so then there's going to come a point where you can ask your vagina, is it okay for me to enter? It's really so beautiful when we ask ourselves. We give ourselves the yes, because so many of us have had no, and it wasn't honored. So just this ritual of you yourself saying, is it okay if I enter you? Yes, just feeling that yes. For some women who have felt a no, it's not safe, no. Doing this to yourself is really powerful. You'd be amazed how the yes, I want to be entered. Yes, it feels so good. Yes, my labias feel great. Oh my God, I love you. Thank you. Yes. Okay, and then when you go in, I would just do the tip. So the first joint of your finger, just this one, when you put your finger, this much of your finger inside, the tip of your finger, but it's the first joint, you see? I have 1 joint, 2 joint, 3 joint. The very first, this is the first layer of your pelvic floor. Remember the pelvic floor muscles? We learned this in physical therapy school. I put my finger inside, this is all pelvic floor. There's 3 layers to the pelvic floor. First is the tip, which is the first joint of my finger, where my nail is. And so just to that point, which I can't put it in all the way, squeeze that. And that's the first layer. So you can assess, how is my first layer, the most superficial layer of my pelvic floor. So you only put your finger up to that first knuckle, in the first joint, and you squeeze there. And notice how that feels. Does it feel strong? Does it feel weak? You're just exploring. Yes, we hold a lot of shame here. There's a lot of shame that we hold. Yes, it's very real. Okay, and then you're going to go down to the next joint. That one has to do with your bladder, the integrity of your bladder. So if anybody, when you cough and sneeze and you don't feel, you leak, this is what I would recommend for you to only go to the second joint and squeeze there. And this is what we teach people in pelvic floor physical therapy. So doing Kegel exercises is not enough. Go to the second layer if you're having urination problem, incontinence, and strengthen there. And so you want to notice, can I squeeze all of that? Or is it weak when at the tip of my finger? You understand, like I'm at the tip of my finger right here. That's where my bladder holding the contraction of the bladder integrity. And so you want to squeeze throughout the whole finger. evenly, okay? And so I would squeeze and hold as much as you can, and you can count how many seconds you hold for. So is it a strong contraction, or does it want to get weak? And how long can I hold it for? What's the most I can hold it for? And you can write that down on a piece of paper and then work on it every day. Okay? But this is, I'm talking about pelvic floor, sorry. This is Yoni healing. Okay, come back. But some people might have incontinence that are taking the class. If you do, just reach out to me and we can work on that separately, okay? And so the next one, the third layer, is the deepest layer. That one is close to your cervix, and that's the deep, deep muscles of the pelvic floor. That one, you would bring your finger as far in as you can, and where your cervix is, you feel how much do I squeeze there. So that one lets you know the integrity of your pelvic floor, keeping your organs in place. And so that's really important too. And so this is really empowering to notice, wow, how much do I squeeze at my tip of my finger? How much do I squeeze where my bladder is? And how much do I squeeze where my cervix is? And then you get this sense of squeezing and relaxing, a deep contraction. It gives you more awareness of the deeper parts of you. And here's what happens. Your G-spot. Your G-spot is on the upper roof. G-spot, I love this. Look, let's just pretend your G-spot is this little shiny thing. But it's on the inside. It's inside your vagina, and your G-spot is a gland. And it builds up. It actually swells up with fluid. And when a woman squirts, when she's having an orgasm, but it doesn't necessarily happen only when you're having an orgasm, that through your urethra, the liquid comes out. So it's the same exit as your urine. However, this fluid is different than your urine. And so when a woman has a G-spot massage, I'm just going to lift this up. You see that little metal? Let's just pretend that's the G-spot. Usually at the second joint, if you bring your finger in, remember I was talking about the bladder? Bladder would be the second joint. A little bit before that, you feel this corrugated, it's on the upper roof of the vagina. So the upper roof, you're gonna feel it. Here's the sacrum, right? That's my back. And you bring your finger in. This part, you can actually finger yourself, right? Putting my finger inside my vagina. So on the upper roof, second joint in, usually that's where you feel this rough, corrugated feeling. And then if you keep pressing in, it's not corrugated anymore. And so that's your G-spot. The cool thing is when you massage yourself like a windshield wiper over your G-spot, you can actually feel how on the upper roof, it's more swollen. But then on the back, towards your anus, it doesn't feel like that. Because some women are like, I can't find my G-spot. So you want to feel for rough, like corrugated ridges. And it does feel different, but for women that have had trauma and have a very trigger point filled vagina, they don't feel anything. So slowly you want to bring your finger in there and explore, well, what does the first, is it smooth here when I immediately put in my finger? Okay, and then it felt something there. Okay, let me go all the way back and it'll feel smooth again. And so, okay, it's smooth, way close to my cervix, feels smoother. If I go back a little, I think this is my G-spot. It feels a little rough there. Then windshield wiper, and you literally feel the gland swell. It's more thicker right on the upper roof, but then if you move to the side, it doesn't feel the same. And so this is where you get to practice and explore and move your finger around and feel the difference. And so a technique to stimulate your G-spot for pleasure, it's called come hither. And so everybody could see how I'm gonna come over here with JJ. Yum, yum. This is one of the techniques for massaging the G-spot. I'm moving my finger away, and you can actually bring two fingers in there, and it's like they're walking. This is an amazing technique to stimulate the G-spot. for the people that wish to squirt, but this is not all you do. I teach people to breathe up and expand their breath first. And then I teach people to squeeze and relax their pelvic floor. And then I teach people to massage everything. And lastly, you can focus on that. Because the other thing is, you don't even have to be touched to squirt. When you're so in it and you're so, just connected, it swells up. And what I do recommend is, if you're like, I don't want to pee on myself, because sometimes people say, well, I think I squirted, but then I think I peed. And so before you intend to masturbate, pleasure yourself, just go pee. Drink lots of water, go to the bathroom, right? It's good to drink lots of water because then your urine is not so concentrated. And just make sure to pee first and then do your pleasure ritual, because most likely the liquid that comes out will be you'll know that it's your pleasure juices, because it takes some time for the bladder to fill up again. So for the women that are like, yeah, I don't want to really work on squirting because I don't know if I'm going to pee on myself, go pee. And have your towels, plastic cover, best. And you will feel this swelling up. It's really cool. And so the whole release of energy, when we get connected to our energy, that's breathing. So I'm sharing the anatomy. I added in a couple things, but I think it's important for every woman to feel her G-spot, get to know your G-spot. That's my opinion. Because the other thing is, the G-spot orgasm, the whole body orgasm, is a different nerve. Remember I was talking about the clitoris is the pudendal nerve? So when you massage inside your vagina, you're stimulating the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is a part of the craniosacral nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system. And so when you massage your G-spot, when you have a whole body orgasm, you're also stimulating the nerves for regeneration, restoration, healing. And so you will benefit your intestines when you have a G-spot orgasm or a whole body orgasm. You will have a better sleep. Your hormones will feel replenished. You'll have more oxytocin, endorphins, and you'll have less cortisol. The vagus nerve is also the one that has to do with balancing our hormones and helping us with all the different regenerative processes. And so it aids you in digestion, sleep. If you do have any dis-ease, your whole body orgasm is actually stimulating the healing response powerfully. And so can you imagine somebody with cancer or fibromyalgia or irritable bowel syndrome, the doctors say, you know what, you need to work with Michelle and she's going to teach you how to have amazing orgasms, because you're going to naturally secrete oxytocin, endorphins, and balance your hormones. And it's just going to help your healing system. And so it makes perfect neurophysiological sense to practice pleasure of the G-spot, pleasure of the cervix, pleasure of breathing and expanding the Tantra, different techniques that I teach clients one-on-one, because each person is different. So in a group setting, this is really, I can't really personalize it for you, but in one-on-one sessions, people can learn this. And it's very empowering to have a whole body orgasm. Squirt, it's just an amazing release. And I swear, I think I look 10 years younger after having a whole body orgasm, and looking in the mirror, my whole face is flushed, and just being able to squirt on my own and pleasure myself in this way, it's very empowering. I'm almost like, God, I wish I could film this, slow-mo. It's so cool. It's just amazing. It's just another way of releasing, and all the fluids that come out, and it just like ejects out of your body. It's really, really, I think it's like the ultimate, like, yeah, woman power, and I feel that it's something very sacred also, that this is a form of intimacy. And so what happens when you start to have the G-spot massage, because it's stimulating that oxytocin is also the releasing hormone. So for breastfeeding, for milk coming out of a woman's nipples, breastfeeding requires a lot of oxytocin. When we make out, there's a lot of oxytocin. That's why when you're making out, you get really wet. There's a lot of oxytocin. And the other thing is when you're doing diaphragmatic breathing, a lot of releasing. And so the way nature works is if you are holding on to a lot of baggage of the past, your oxytocin is going to cause old repressed emotions to come up. And so let's just say you met someone, you're really in love, or you're just pleasuring yourself and you're really in love. You're not just going to have an orgasm. You're going to have a cathartic emotional release of the past because the healing hormone, the releasing hormone is active. And so this is why sometimes people say, you know what, I'm so happy, but I had the most amazing sex with my boyfriend last night and for hours and hours. And by the end of it, I was just crying and like memories were coming up of my childhood, but having nothing to do with sex, nothing to do with him. And I just cried and I've never gone so deep. And so the deeper orgasm causes deeper, older memories to come up. And so it's really important when this starts to happen to you to not try to analyze it. As you're having memories, or sometimes an ex-boyfriend will come up, it's so important to just be the witness of it all and breathe. The same thing I teach you all. Okay, I'm thinking about, or maybe you're thinking about your dad, or maybe your neighbor, or just get in your body, breathe, be in your body. Sometimes we just release, things. It could have been your mom. It could have been something you watched. And so it's really important to just be a video camera. You're just watching. I don't have to analyze myself. I don't have to think there's something wrong with me. I don't have to think that I need to know why that's happening. And so if you just stay in your body, breathe and expand. Trust me, this week, I would love it if you all listen to Yoni massage. I made a recording that I will share about awakening our sensual energy on YouTube. It's a guided meditation. You just close your eyes and lay down. I'm going to send that to everyone when you get this recording. The link of the links, I'll post it on. And I think that's it for as far as G-spot, cervix orgasm. So cervical orgasm, when you bring your finger all the way at the end, you're going to feel the end of your vagina. And there's it feels like a little lip. That's the entrance of your uterus. That's your cervix. And literally you can massage around your cervix. And it feels really good. Eventually. Maybe it doesn't. I shouldn't say it feels really good. Because some people, it might not feel really good. But what do you do if it doesn't feel good? You just breathe. And you notice how it feels. And you breathe. And you love it. And you just say, I love you wherever you're at. I love you, vagina. I love you, cervix. You may not know what you're touching. I love you. And we're safe. And so you can reclaim your body. Some of us, we feel our body wasn't ours. It was our husband's, or it was our abuser. And so you just say, this is my body. I love you, body. I am safe in my body. I decide I am safe now. And you reprogram yourself. So it's really powerful when you touch the walls and you can literally put an intention into your vagina. I am open to having whole body orgasms. I am open to letting go of all my hurts. I am open to letting go of the narrative, the story, the trauma, the drama. I am open to releasing it all. And I'm grateful for it all because I have learned how important it is for me to be present. And I'm learning how to process. And thank you, body, for everything that you've stored and held for me. I know you're just protecting yourself. It's okay to release it now. And something I like to do is this. Take a deep breath in, and I let it all go. And I let my finger out fast. I've done this before in certain sessions where okay, we're gonna count to 3, gather it all up, 1, 2, on a count of 3, we're gonna let it all go. And I have a client who wrote on a testimonial, I feel like a tampon of emotions was released out of my body. I was like, yeah, this was a man, this was a prostate massage. So I could talk about this for hours. Write to me, comment if you have any questions. And for the people listening to the recording, as I was speaking, maybe questions came up for you. Maybe it reminded you of something. So to recap, I just went over the anatomy of the body here, the female sexual anatomy. We have the labia majora, labia minora, the external, the vagina is internal, This is actually the vulva and our pelvic floor. We have 3 layers to the pelvic floor. I taught you how to locate all 3. I also taught you how to lift that hood to really feel that clitoris, 9,000 nerve endings, and then to go into the G-spot territory. Write to me if you still don't feel you know your G-spot. My wish is for every woman to feel very empowered, knowing her anatomy, knowing how her body parts function, and opening up to having richer, fuller orgasms. And I want you to know that you do not have to ever touch yourself to have an orgasm. You can literally breathe and feel and just become aware of your energy. But if you have never touched yourself, why not integrate your energetic orgasm with your physical body orgasm and your emotions and just heal that way? And so someone that has been doing a lot of this type of work, I feel it is easier, like for me to have just energetic orgasm is easier now. I probably never would have even thought of it, but who knows, maybe people start that way. I have no idea. I don't want to limit it, but just know that you can have orgasms without ever touching yourself, and you could just visualize and you can move your pelvis. And so that's another aspect of it, that rocking your pelvis forward and back while squeezing and relaxing. Your hands can be here. That's a way to just feel really good. And we can actually do that right now. I'm sitting. And so I'm just going to start to rock my body, because when you rock your body, you're actually feeling your clitoris touching wherever it's rubbing. And so I'm just rocking forward and back. Inhaling forward, exhaling back, inhaling forward, exhaling back. And then while I continue to do that, I can squeeze and relax, squeeze and relax. This is the type of pulsation that happens when you orgasm. The pelvic floor squeezes and relaxes as pulsations. They're pulsation, quick pulses of contraction when you orgasm. And so if you start to move your spine and you breathe and you squeeze and relax, I mean, I'm turned on already. But if I'm holding on to a lot of trauma, like I feel it, that I just got moist, and it's just like, feels good. But if I had years and years of trauma and I'm stuck in my story and my body's tense and it's in pain, I probably won't be feeling the energy as much. And I'll be like, what is that? So that's why Yoni massage is so powerful. Massaging your whole body and doing your breathing and doing your releasing. And then eventually you're just going to feel so energetically connected. And it's a process. And this is something I work with my clients to teach them pain to pleasure, heaviness to lightness, and this transformation of trauma to triumph. And so it's a journey. And today was meant to be a sharing of our anatomy, a little bit of orgasm there. And so just share with me through an email. You can comment down below any questions that came up for you. I'm here as your support and your guide to sexual empowerment. And so this is what it's about. And so thank you everyone for being here. Our next class is a bit about awakening our sexual energy. And so take this time to do the Yoni massage, the sexual trauma healing meditation. And this way you're clearing away, so that when we do the 4th class, Awaken Your Sexual Energy, I'm going to be guiding you more in that energetic connection. And a big part of it is opening our hearts, forgiveness, compassion, acceptance. Your heart open energizes your sexual energy, and everything is just so much more expansive and felt. If your heart is closed and you're scared and you're protecting, the energy of your heart is not going to be able to connect as much with your vagina heart. And there's a question here. Oh, okay. So thank you everyone for this class. Sending you all lots of love. And I'm so grateful to be sharing all this knowledge. I feel this knowledge that you gained today is very empowering, and it changed my life. It changed my life to have my vagina in my life. I didn't even masturbate till I was 37 years old. That's the first time I ever pleasured myself. That was the first time I had an orgasm with myself. And I judged masturbation. I thought masturbation was sinful. I was raised Catholic. I never, ever, ever thought of touching my vagina for pleasure. I never explored myself till I was 37, and I'm 47 now, and I am not wasting any more time. I definitely make it a pleasure ritual at least 3 times a week. I pleasure myself, but it's something of a ritual I do. I massage myself. I use my doTERRA essential oils. I love on myself, and sometimes I cry because I feel so beautiful. It's a happy cry. And I really feel that it helps me connect to my feminine energy to massage myself. And I'm not just trying to get off on myself. I just don't do that. And it's okay if you do. You're so much more than a clitoris. Your cervix is a pleasure spot. And the other thing that I forgot to mention, we have these erogenous zones. And so you can take advantage if you're having a challenging time touching your vagina. You can totally pleasure on your neck. This area of the body feels very sexy and sensual. The forearm is another one. Just stroking your forearm for a couple minutes and heightening that feeling of pleasure. It's tingly, tingly, tingly. And so you always want to combine it with the breathing. This is Tantra: breath, movement, sound, intention. And the other one is your inner thigh, stroking inner thigh and stroking the side of your waist. And definitely around your anus, your booty. I'm sure everybody already knows this. There's a lot of pleasure nerves around the anus. So just caressing, scratching, that's going to awaken you to the lightness, the energy of your body. And so that could be a ritual that you do, is you're just going to explore sensual touch, pleasure. So for a person with chronic neck pain, it makes a lot of sense to teach them sensual massage. Chronic shoulder pain or back pain, sensuality is the pleasure nerve. The pleasure nerve is oxytocin and endorphins and feel-good hormones. And so a person that's in pain, that's getting pleasured, is going to start to associate their neck with not just pain. So you want to create these patterns of a new way of interacting and feeling and experiencing, and it broadens your repertoire where you're not just pain, your sensuality, your nurturing touch, your loving touch, your sensual kindness, tenderness. And some of us have never felt that way. Our parents never touched us in a nurturing way. A lot of us have not been nurtured. And so for the healing system, this is so powerful, just doing things like this. And I really love it when we light candles and do this. It's like lighting a candle, a fire, gathering around the fire. So do it for yourself. And let me know how this benefits you. Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful night. Bye.
Thanks, Michelle. Good night. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Michelle. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Good night.